bombshell UFO leak has recently come across Reddit. I wanted to give you a full synopsis of what this person has said. Pretty much everything we already know, friends. There has been advanced UFO military technology from the US government that they've been working on. It's literally almost been 100 years. The earliest it goes back to was, I think, the Vatican. Actually, the actual Vatican helped pretty much siphon a downed UFO ship in 1933 from Italia. Shout out to my baby dolls in Italy. Love you, spaghetti. So they were able to get the ship out, went to America's hands. They've been studying it, 1933. And I get they made a lot of discoveries during that time because there were all these rumors that we never knew at the start. The rumors were that the scientists of literally late 1930s discovered quantum entanglement, which is that two subatomic particles, they're basically bound in space-time. So if one moves, the other moves. Something happens to them. And it's literally faster than the speed of light. They're quantumly entangled, right? And it's almost like, you know, friends, twins. I've known twins in real life where one's crying or one is sad for the day. The other one, literally totally different suburb, that she'll also be crying. Okay, they'll also be crying. Like they know. They literally just know. But this bombshell UFO leak, so it's usually a deathbed confession that's come. I've made a lot of UFO videos. What I want to do, I want to go through a lot of what they say here. And it's pretty much as an insider. Now, what I love is Ashton, shout out to Ashton Forbes. He's covered the MH370 plane that got zapped out of the air. And it was advanced US military tech, which is kind of funny, man. Ashton's a friend of the channel, man. It is funny, Ashton, man, how all these UFO dudes, they've been researching the field for like 20 to 30 years, yeah? And then, like, we show them, bro, we got your holy grail. All right, we got a plane being zapped out of existence. There's 3 orbs. It goes to the 4th orb. And then when their brains see it, they're like, nah, fake. Doctored. I'm like, bro, what do you mean? Like, you've been literally your whole life, you've been waiting for this. We're showing it to you. And they're like, nah, totally fake. And remember, it is this that was zapped out, okay? It was this. Beep, right here, friends. See that? Beep. When they did one of the thermal readings on it as well, it was insane. Because the flash that actually happened, the crazy part, friends, the flash, see that bomb flash? When they checked it, there was a cold vacuum UV light ray in there or something, right? And this is the wildest part. The video's from 2014. The latest Nobel Prize winning scientists discovered like 4 years later the equations where if you did such an experiment like this, it should create UV exposure radiation in there. So pretty much, it's another way of saying, if it was fake, whoever made the fake bomb explosion, they had like a 1 in 1,000 chance to correctly predict what color it would have been. Okay, what type of wave it would have basically emitted. Okay, that's how you could tell. There's all these 1 in 1,000 chances that could have happened. So Ashton actually shares thoughts on this. He goes, I saw this document that we're going to read from over a year ago. I know it's real. This was one of the moments I realized that there is a major effort to engineer the technology and humans are not clueless about it. The Tic Tac UFO was probably Cockheed Martin. Now, friends, the Tic Tac UFO, that was like one of my first ever UFO clips. I remember showing it to my family friend. It was at Christmas, and he'd been talking about UFOs for years, right? Shubs had been talking to me. Literally, friends, Shubs been telling me about dark side of the moon, all this stuff, and I was like, I didn't know where to research. Talking about the black light satellite, black night, all of this stuff, and my brain was like, are you sure? I don't know. And then the Tic Tac UFO came, and when I showed it to him, it was like he was not like. Basically, it's unfazed, okay? But that's when I was like, whoa, I've got to research this. That's when I discovered Joe Rogan and Bob Lazar and everything out here. So this is the famous Tic Tac UFO. So it's a Tic Tac, and you see it's flying with its belly down. And then when it's happening, it flips, and then it disappears.
Okay.
So yeah, that's pretty much that. Who's flying it? Commander Fravor. So you can actually see Joe Rogan, Commander Fravor, yeah, David Fravor. He basically goes and he explains out here. So as you can see, Jeremy Cowbell and Commander Fravor. So that's him. He's like, you know, you're very, very like valid, you know, like lots of medals, been in the army a long time, you know, not a lunatic or anything, like, you know, very like respectable, legit type of dude. That's why when he came and made his all his Congress stuff out here, everyone was like, whoa, it's not just like kooks. Yeah, man, it's kind of interesting. But we're pretty much, this is a crazy part, man. I've got to show you some stuff. And so this is just, it's wild, man. Friends, just to let you know, Dr. Stephen Greer, he's a bit of a Richard Hart in the UFO. He's a bit of a Richard Hart with like, you know, his popularity, the ego approach. So this is Dr. Stephen Greer, okay? Dr. Stephen Greer, friends. There's one interview, obviously, where Dr. Greer, and he goes on Jesse Michaels. Okay, this kid's a freaking weapon, by the way. Jesse Michaels as well. The cabal. Look at the global cabal. So this is awesome. Years. This interview as well. So him and Jesse, this is where it's just, there's a lot of truths in here. I don't know if it's true. It's so hard to swallow, bro. Like, because Dr. Stephen Greer, he's been saying, he goes, stop believing all this UFO stuff you see. He goes, they're all man-made. The ones that you see on the TV, like the Tic Tac. He's been saying that. And when we're like, I don't know, man. Are you sure we've reverse engineered stuff? He's like, they've all man-made, dude. I forgot the whistleblowers to 30 years ago. But then he drops bombs like, he says, we've had the science for this for 100 years, bro. And then once again, I'm like, oh, it's hard for me to think. Everyone had like black and white, gray tone skin 100 years ago. We didn't even invent Game Boys yet. You're telling me before we invented the Game Boy, we were manipulating space-time. We had the technology of quantum entanglement and understanding back then. And he's like, yeah. That's why it's so really, really hard to grasp. But there's more leaks coming out, which is just blowing my mind that, yeah, they have had it for way longer than we thought. We thought, friends, when see, this is why, if you want to know, okay. Do you remember, friends, Bob Lazar? Remember, Bob Lazar comes out onto Joe Rogan, and Bob Lazar's story is obviously very special because Bob Lazar, friends, remember, he's the OG. He's, you know, you got to pay respect. Area 51. So Bob Lazar, I think he was working in Los Alamos and the Area 51, like in the late 70s or whatever. But it was so compartmentalized in the little rooms that he's working on. He said, look, what they had told me was that it was painfully slow to reverse engineer the tech. So he saw some of the common, like everyone who's ever been to the DUMBs, D-U-M-B-S, the deep underground military bases, they do, it's kind of crazy, man. They do this trick. Yeah, they do this trick. So what they do is, before you go to see the deep UFO stuff, right? So how we know this is Dr. Stephen Greer, Joe Rogan, a few of the people who've seen the UFO stuff, people over the decades, what they do is, they don't know it's a trick, by the way. So you just walk into a random room before you're allowed to go in, okay? And they just show you this like perfectly spherical ball and it's levitating. Yeah? It's literally like levitating, okay? They just show it to you. And the people, obviously, the whistleblowers who you hear the stories from, remember, it's survivorship bias. They all like just looked at the ball and then just walked away, right? But what they now think is they think it's a precursor test. So if you go in and you're like, oh my God, there is world-changing technology. Let's go tell the world. If you squeal too much, they're like, okay, do not let them in through the door, send them back out. Okay, because it's too dangerous to send them in. Also, you know what I mean, right? They basically throw this test around. Like, hey, is your mind going to flip? If your mind flips too much and you lose the plot, get out. And they'll basically, you know, just say, oh, this guy's on drugs or whatever. They just get him out before you're allowed to go deeper into the US military bases. So Bob Lazar, remember, it's so compartmentalized and they told him, hey, it's painfully slow. We don't know how to reverse engineer all these, see what you can figure out. But that's why it's a bit controversial because then you have this UFO stuff. Like, bro, they've made some cracker advancements in that time. So that's why some people say, oh, Bob Lazar's lying. I don't think he was lying. I just think, like, they're just, obviously, I don't know shit. But they put you in compartments so you can't talk to each other. They don't want anybody to have all the information. Also, what we know from Hal PutHoff, another one of my cracker UFO videos, all right? Remember, friends, in the in the Hal PutHoff interview, which I show you here in this video, right? Hal PutHoff. If you go here.
I won't tell him why I'm asking, but I'll ask him about
So in Hal PutHoff, he pretty much, he leaks, he shows, look, there have been craft crashed on purpose from them, but not just America. They gave it to China, and they also gave it to Russia. So it's 3 of us. Now, we don't know why. It could be that they're seeing who reverse engineers it fastest, and then we will like basically take on the next advanced civilization step with them. And then we'll do the next map. Whatever it is, right? That's how we think is happening. So obviously, if you're coming from a perspective of US dollar wanting to be the world dominant currency and the world superpower out here, they have to be very careful. Like Hal always says, look, I can't really say like too much just because, you know, the other guys, China, Russia, they might have like 8 out of 10 components to advance the next step. And if they get something from us, if we give them one idea, it might be the missing piece for them. That's why you don't leak stuff at all, because you might literally just like be the final missing piece in there. So in this advanced UFO leak document, right, what I'm going to do is just go through it with this person. Friends, it reads like it's real, right? And it's been vetted. People have said they've seen it a while ago. They've seen these documents are real. So this guy says, I was a private contractor for various DARD agencies as Department of Defense. I'm speaking now because it's gone too far off the end. He goes, and by the way, his Twitter account's deleted. His Reddit account is deleted. He goes, I didn't want to write this, but now I'm going to. Interesting. He goes, the evidence I'm providing in my documents cannot be FOIA'd. You know what that stands for, friends? Freedom of Information Act, which means you can't even go to the government and request that document. Okay. He goes, I'm going to give you my perspective on anti-gravity and overall landscape of the UAP field. That's why they changed it from UFO to UAP, because, like, you know, all the boomers, friends, you know, they can't take it when people don't say nice things about it. We don't give a shit, bro. It's UFOs to me, unidentified friendly object. Okay. That's pretty much it. Okay. Whether you're walking, standing, farting, pooping, I don't care. He goes, I've been in the field for 4 decades. These are all my experiences. He goes, I have a degree in electrical engineering. I'm not going to say the name of the school. Then you can track me down. He goes, these black programs do not necessarily care about your academic credentials as much as they care about 2 things. Okay. This is interesting. So he goes, 1, can you think outside the box? Number 1. And number 2, can you shut the F up about it? He writes that. Do you want to know what's interesting, friends? A lot of the government, a lot of the leakers and whistleblowers from the Deep program, they said in these deep state military, they don't actually hire the most competent and smartest person. They hire who can keep a secret the best. That's what they do. You know, remember the surgeons, the alien interviews and stuff we've seen out here? Yeah, they hire people where they do tests and they're like, oh, wow, this person just never squeals. Doesn't go home and talk to his family about it. There was one guy, friends, remember I did the alien interview. One of the surgeons, they found his watch. The guy passed away. They went to his wife, and his wife was like, oh, this guy's been keeping a secret from me for 40 years. He never spoke about work. He told me he did some boring job but it was like a surgeon out here, and he said he couldn't talk about what he did. He never did. So that's what they do. They don't hire the best people. They hire who can basically keep quiet the longest. Also, this gentleman says, why am I doing this? I have given 8 months to live. I will do what I can to stay alive. Sometimes I can't sleep because of the blatant lies out here. So a lot of these are deathbeds out here in crypto. In the UFO community. I said crypto community, Freudian slip. Let's actually, what we're gonna do is let's play some Cranky J Angel music. Let's smooth it over, friends. We're gonna mug all these non-believers. I really do give you the highest value content in crypto. We are advancing human knowledge here. You know, that's what it's kind of funny. It's what science is, man, because science is like you go into the anomalies. It's like the barrier of what they know, and they try to find stuff out here. But you know, somewhere science lost its way. No, science didn't lose its way, bro. It's the government literally government pointed a gun to everyone's head, and they said, hey, you know, cold fusion doesn't exist, bro. Hey, UFOs in the sky. Yeah, everyone's on drugs, bro. Don't tell them. Don't tell them. Interesting. He starts dropping some name bombs here. Okay, he says Jay Stratton and Lou Elizondo are one of the reasons that various inventors' zero-point energy devices have never seen the light of day. Interesting. So Jay Stratton and Lou Elizondo. I've made videos on Lou Elizondo. Okay. A lot of these people. So he's Blue Elizondo out here. Here is Jay Stratton. But yeah, I mean, like from a lot of these, do we call him Gay Stratton after this? Pretty much, yeah. So again, like this is kind of sad. Remember how many times have I told you? Yeah, you want to exit world? Go release the 0-point energy equations. See how long you last. Good luck. Okay. Yeah, try to power your house on water. You're doing that fancy. You're finished. You're literally dead man. Okay, they'll give you super fast, aggressive, cancerous poison. Bomb your house. You're done. You're literally done. Because it's the infinite power, multi-trillion-dollar oil industry, right? That you're going after. So it turns out, I guess, Gay Stratton and Lou Elizondo, wow, they were, I guess, in charge of it. Interesting. He goes, look, they have been personally responsible for destroying careers, families, and the mental well-being of scientists and engineers over decades. Lou Elizondo used to be the counter-intel agent for more than one WUSAP, waived unacknowledged special access program, and he did not get involved in the subject by chance. He and Gay Stratton were involved long before the whole ATIP thing saga. Whoa! So friends, remember, recently I showed you Lou Elizondo, okay, I guess he's now scum. Pretty much, remember, I could always get a bad feeling about him. I in videos, I was like, man, he's literally talking on behalf of the government. He ain't a whistleblower. He says, well, we got to find out what the government really wants here. I'm like, bro, you don't talk like a whistleblower. You don't have any fear for your life, dude. You know what I mean? It looks like you go and meet with them and then, like, you know, you're careful around the words. You say the stuff out here. Recently, he leaked some fake UFO stuff, which is a fake image, and everyone was, like, losing their minds at him. It might have been because his power was getting too much. So then he continues. He says, Lou Elizondo is not a bad person at heart, but it makes you wonder why he has done what he's done in order to destroy others. Interesting. You know, so you got to think about, why does this guy say Lou's not a bad person? Because this guy's probably in the government too. Lou's also in the government. They both serve the government. They go, oh, you know, we're part of this. It's almost like you're in a crypto community. You're like, oh, like deep down, I know you have the same morals and principles as me because you're in the same crypto community as me. So this leaker continues. I know many of you judge this statement and you think I'm defending him, but there are many good things that he has done in this field as well that many people likely would never know about. With that said, this is funny. He is definitely compromised. There you go. In terms of putting USA, NAT, SEC above all else. And that is a concern at this point. It is a concern because the Department of Defense has been long infiltrated with warmongers and profiteering cranks that want to keep all of this tech and knowledge silent for the sake of their own self-preservation. I gave him the benefit of the doubt at first, but this is getting to the point of stupidity. To a small extent, I don't blame him. However, to hide all this tech from the humanity is becoming more of a curse than anything else. People have the right to know. So he also continues. Gay Stratton, however, is a real scummy person. He actually said that. Wow. Gay Stratton is a real scummy person. Don't get me started on the poop that guy has done to some of my colleagues. I have zero sympathy for him. Sean Kirkpatrick is a pawn. So friends, Sean Kirkpatrick, this guy, he is the guy who goes to Congress and they ask him the questions. Hey, do you guys have any UFO tech? He goes, absolutely not. No, 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 no. Stupid claim. Don't even bother. He's the dude. He's like the puppet, the lying puppet. Okay. So they said he's a pawn. He lies through his teeth like Ron Pandolfi has and does. To add, please do not ask me about Jack Safari. He is considered a laughing stock to those involved in the prayers programs. Funny, this guy Jack Safari quoted this post and said, bullshit, ridiculous. And then I replied to him, I'll just show you actually, in true Somi fashion. I replied to him, Jack Safari. Quite the farty. Oh, man, the poetry writes itself, friends. So he also mentions, look at this guy. He says, there are 2,000 legacy programs working on reverse engineering the UFOs. Hal PutHoff recently said on Joe Rogan, we've got more than 10 recovered craft in the US of A. He goes, but the real number is in the hundreds minimum. Whoa, where do they keep all of it, bro? Whoa. You know what? That makes sense. Because we're seeing more and more leaks. So, you know, Bob Lazar's day in the 70s and 80s, he said he saw about, 8 to 12. By the way, when I saw Bob Lazar, his first story, when he said there were 12 of them, that's how I knew he was telling the truth. Yeah, I'll never forget that. I think it was 2017. Watching Joe Rogan, I was like, 12? I go, oh, he's definitely telling the truth. Because when I'm stepping in and I'm always measuring, okay, if I was making up a lie, what would I do, right? And then I thought I would be like, there's only one ship. I'm thinking about it from a Hollywood movie. You know, in the Hollywood movie, oh, there's one ship, there's one mystery, there's one ET, one alien. When he comes out and he says, yeah, there's 12. I was like, 12? That's when I was like, this doesn't sound like a made-up story, bro. This sounds like that's the oddly, if you were dressing up a story, that's not as cool as big. We got one. It's so precious. Hold the first. Nah, that's 12. Now saying actually there's over 100. That's why they moved and stocked and shipped everywhere, and that's why the probability of whistleblowers and leaks coming out, it's rising as you stack up the years. Now, he also continues. He says, Jeremy Cowbell is a useful idiot. Some of what he releases is accurate, but when he says that humans cannot replicate or understand propulsion systems that craft use or whatever nonsense is a blatant lie. I doubt he actually knows the truth. So I think he's being a bit too harsh on Jeremy Cowbell here, because Jeremy, friends, he's going on mainstream media, yeah, and he doesn't want to sound like a kook. He wants to let the world know about UFOs and to ask questions and explore, right? And he's probably speaking on behalf of the 8 billion people who are learning dog shit backwards science at school. Okay, obviously he knows you got the tech, bro. He's got a lot of leaks. He's not stupid, But when he's speaking to MSNBC people, he can't say, "Lady, they got the UFO tech. They got the UFO tech. There's a coconut intelligence agency spying the Fox News headquarters right now." And by the way, it's true. They do have deep state spies in all of the media. Fox News, MSNBC, CNN. Whenever news makes their way, they squash stuff all the time. So they actually do have it. But imagine him going, "Oh, lady," you know what I mean? He doesn't want to come across like that. So he's speaking on behalf of us. This is how I know this Reddit thing. There's a lot of truth to this, because it sounds like this guy's an insider. He's been on the inside for so long. He said 4 decades. Yeah, he's literally lost touch. Bro, you've known the UFOs can do this for 30 years, bro. There's 8 billion people on Earth. They don't know that. As far as they're concerned, all they know is Einstein's equations. You add an orange juice with a Batman logo. What do you get? Okay, that's what they're thinking about. Yeah, you've got the advanced military, gravity manipulation, element 115, the fancy jet. You already know all this stuff. It's like ingrained in your head already. But for everyone else, it's not. Okay. He also says very nice things about David Grusch and a man named Jake Barber. Jake Barber, he was the guy he was talking about. I think there was an underwater UFO that they went, and there was a mission to collect it, and he said there was a hard drive there that had to recover. So it's this guy here. This is Jake Barber. Yeah, so Jake, this is him giving the story. He actually gets very emotional as well. I think in his cracker interview, when Jake does the interview, I forgot exactly how it went, but when he came in contact either with the being or the ship, he starts crying. It has some real spiritual, it hits you, it actually can trigger some emotional thing out here, which is really interesting. I wonder if it's maybe have some chakra waves and stuff. I think the ancient Hindus had that. I'm wondering if it's pulling this electromagnetism things away from you. It's making you unstable and making you have this emotion. Obviously, David Grusch, friends. Do you know David Grusch from the leaks from the Pentagon guy? You can't say that guy's name in the Pentagon anymore. Yeah? no one talks about him because he literally leaked everything, made all their lives a living hell. And they've tried to kill him and stuff multiple times. They tried to really assassinate him. But yeah, David Grusch doesn't have first-hand UFO witness. He's just collected evidence for 60, I think over 60 occurrences, 60 people. Yeah. So this whistleblower says nice things about him, and a man named Mike Herrera. He goes, I respect these men and their efforts. Let me say now, don't ask me about this immaculate constellation. I'm an electrical engineer. I'm not a spy. Being in the field, you do pick up tradecraft methods and learn how to run with the wolves, so to speak. Interesting. Check it out. He says, human beings, through both novel innovation and through reverse engineering, not mutually exclusive, have mastered anti-gravity to a certain degree. When I say certain degree, I mean operational craft that can leave our solar system. It sounds nuts, but this is the truth. By the way, the Lockheed Martin CEO in I think 1992, he says, we've got stuff that'll make like George Lucas basically, wet his pants, the Star Wars. He goes, yeah, we've already got stuff to go to the stars. He said this in one meeting, just like this one sentence out here. So they've been hinting at this for decades, okay? But now he's confirming it. He goes, some people have succeeded by means of pure human ingenuity. Others succeeded with access to recovered UFO materials. This level of mastery exceeds anything that even our most traditionally secret MIL programs have. Booz Allen, Honeywell, Lockheed Martin, Mitre Corp, Raytheon, Boeing, they all have their own various versions of anti-gravity tech. There is a difference between gravitational shielding and repulsion and actually generating a HFGW, high frequency gravitational wave. Okay. I think that last part is interesting as well. He goes, there's a difference between just getting enough anti-gravity for your shield. So you can just basically walk into anyone. So if you have a shield around your friends and they want to kick you out of the strip club, no one can kick you out. You got anti-gravity. There's a difference between that and then I guess that's the defense and then the attack version. The attack, the offense, generating a high frequency gravitational wave, which I guess, does that mean you just literally pulverize anything? That's like high level nuclear, beyond nuclear advanced weapon tech. He also continues, the pursuit of Thomas Townsend Brownie is exactly where people should be looking. 0-point energy manipulation has to do with the electromagnetic vector potential. That is as far as I will go on that. So even he's been in the program for a long time. See, Francis said that he's not going to tell anyone because he knows, he's like, come on, bro, we've been working for 30 years on this stuff. I'm not going to go give China and Russia what they got to do this. No way. It's an imaginary horrible. He also says, I was involved in a project that utilized Tesla's turbines, a plasma toroid chambers, microwaves, crystals, extremely strong rotating magnets, and other components for gravitational waves in a private BAE lab. The total cost was under $3 million to build the gravity generator. It can and has been done time and time again successfully. Gravitational waves are measured electromagnetically due to it being a consequence of the curvature of space-time itself. This, I think, is advanced maths and science. I don't know if all you science nerds out here, but what I've been seeing is like, I remember even school that was like, no one knows what gravity is. Gravity. What a bunch of bullshit, bro. They've known for like 80 years. Gravity, I think, is an electromagnetic force. Okay, but they just don't know, I guess, how to measure it because it's curvature, space-time, and all you science nerds, you can figure it out. I love all the astrology and stuff out here, by the way. Interesting. They continue. Metamaterials are not needed to generate macroscopic proof of concept of gravitational phenomena. Interesting. So you don't need the materials of the ship. He also says, He goes, about these files. So the files I've shown you, friends, some of these PowerPoint slides, 2008. Oh, I'll read these from 2008, okay? What he says is referring to these files, okay? He says, you will notice some of my files, I'm showing that the Soviets, so Russia, have coined a term called rotational gravitation. And they believed that rotating masses acted as emitters and receivers of gravitational waves. He says, I'm not going to argue with those in the comments that say this is not possible. And I'm not going to argue with idiots that don't know how to think outside the box. My question is, if the Soviet Russians thought it would be worthy of experimental investigation, then why is that not being done here in the US of A? Oh, wait, it is. It's just going to stay forever classified. Forever, he says. Interesting. So that's like esoteric. You're deep in the ground. We don't know what the hell he's talking about, right? Probably in his world, he's shown, oh, the public know because Russia have leaked that they're studying this gravitational wave and America's not doing the same tests, even though scientifically it works for some. Maybe it's like step 1 of 20 to get the gravitational stuff, anti-gravity. And then he's like saying, yeah, why haven't we done the tests here? It's because we already know we're like a step ahead of the Russians and we don't want to show anybody in America that we're like along that path. That's a translation of what he's getting at. He says, ask Gay Stratton why he prevented multiple inventors from getting their own laboratory. Because many of the inventors he suppressed focused on rotating capacitors, something that the Soviet Russians pursued very quickly. I'm sure his $1 million book deal helped smooth over all the people he royally trucked. So all these paid shills, government agents. And then let's play some Pummie G music as well for everyone. He says, my beef is that we are classifying basic science that our adversaries are now discussing in more open forums and in peer-reviewed literature. Interesting. He's basically saying, America, you've hidden so much stuff, like China and Russia, they're already talking about this stuff like openly, I guess. He goes, it's BS, and what's all for what? Is it so Cockheed Martin can make their science breakthroughs proprietary and own it? Once again, profit money, profit money. The closest I have seen anyone in the public domain get close to describing how this tech works is Lieutenant Colonel Tom Bearden and a few others. And oh my gosh, Fence, I've posted videos about this dude. I did not know that was his name. I've posted video. This guy's insanely smart, friends. I posted, oh my gosh, you don't worry. You probably say, show me the videos. You won't know, just don't. It's like the electromagnetic capacitor with the flux thing and the going up and the down, the MC equation divided by the sine signal gets you to the flux capacitor. It was like, bro, you don't understand what the hell's going on. Just like this dude, his brain's not of this realm. You just don't know. You just take the equations and Batman single and disco ball and this, a flying carrot and just like, I don't understand what's going on here, bro. Just give this guy a lab coat, the test tube. He's going to come out with some crazy stuff. Wow, that was his name. He's Lieutenant Colonel Tom Bearden. Interesting. Watch some of his videos. This is like one of the videos I watched. And trust me, it's like flux capacitor with the it's like, whoa, it's out as well. But then he also continues. He says, the tough part of all of their words is taking the theory and applying it to a practical experiment. Not many can bridge that divide, but a few small genius engineers have. And then he says, you want to know who the real high-level gatekeeper of all this stuff is? Here we go, friends. Drum roll. Admiral John Mike McConnell. He currently works at Booz Allen. Or at least that was the last I heard of his whereabouts. And of course, I am looking him up right now. John Mike McConnell. Look at this little weasel. You're keeping the US tech for yourselves. What are you and I going to do with it? Nothing. We don't know. First, we touch it, we'll probably explode. number one. Number two, okay, who's going to get it? Yeah, we're going to have to kind of teach everybody to do it. But then, okay, number three, what if Russia and China just need a few key missing pieces? It's one sticky situation, man. But look at him. And look at him. Oh, George Bush guy. This is the dude. You know, Vince, I had a dream, I think a few months ago. I was like, man, I have a feeling when this disclosure stuff finally comes out, there's going to be like one unfortunate soul, evil person, where the spotlight's just going to go on them. And everyone's going to be like, you prevented us. You have been holding society back. I just see it. And I'll be thinking, come on, bro. You didn't even know who the hell this guy was your whole life. Now you're saying he's the reason why you're succeeding less at life, which, yeah. So this is him. Mike McConnell. Interesting. Rubs shoulders with all of them. This is the guy. By the way, if I'm Googling him, dude, you're going to get a lot of shit, by the way. So good luck. Also, if you're hiding UFO tech, good luck, but also fuck you. So it works both ways. I realize now that being given the time on this planet, because remember the whistleblower friends, 8 months to live, it makes you think about what should really matter. I want the next generation to have a chance. P.S. The Tic Tac UFO is ours. I worked on certain aspects of it personally. My gosh. What a bombshell. So this one reads differently. Yeah. A lot of these friends will keep coming out here. So we know this. I really think this is going to run with our crypto bull market. It just feels like this thing's coming out. I'm telling you now, you know what? When he said, man, we got over 100 UFO ships, it's making sense now. Because I'm like, man, I knew either we got a lot of UFO stuff or the amount of people involved is growing bigger. Because we're starting to hear more leaks, more whistleblowers, more leaks. Like it's getting too big to contain. You know, I think that it used to be about 2,000 people in the program total all around America and stuff out here. Probably grown, but I might have like 10,000 people now. You know, it's just harder and it's impossible to keep secrets like that for so long. But yeah, they do kill a lot of people. That's why. But we'll see what happens from here. So the UFO tech, we've been lied to our whole lives. But for the rest of us, we're still going to stay optimistic because this is going to be one interesting ride when this starts unraveling. Like, subscribe, bell button, or catch you soon.